Dixon Technologies. Saurabh Gupta, the CFO, here with us on the show. Good morning. Thanks so much for being here with us. Help us understand what's going on. On one end, we hear global headlines as well on how Apple wants to cut down manufacturing because, it's seeing less demand. In India, we're hearing similar commentary that's now coming in from Amazon and Flipkart. If you were to see the, the billion-day sales, the Amazon Prime sales, because the upgrades on every phone is not that much. So you tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. I think so. There have been a lot of headwinds now, for especially for mobiles. The market has been slow, both globally and lately in India. No, India also the volumes have seen a decline, and mainly in its account of the macroeconomic conditions, the global headwinds that we are seeing, the rising crude prices, inflation. Clearly, the volumes have seen a degrowth year on year uh, post Diwali. Diwali festive season and the big billion day sales, as you mentioned, of this Amazon and Flipkart was very good. We saw very good order book and demand ahead of the festive season. But yeah, post that, I think so it has been slightly slow. But we are hopeful, and whatever interactions we are having with our anchor customers in mobiles, I think so it should bounce back in Q4. But clearly, yes, as of now, it's muted and it's slow right now.
So when you say muted, what is it that you mean? Because, on one end, I would imagine that the market is also growing in India. If data is the new oil and we're seeing data penetration also go up, it's good, but it has to go up a lot more. So what do you mean by muted? Is it at least keeping pace with the growth in the market?
So I think so. The couple of reasons. One, there has been relatively a slow migration to smartphones from feature phones, which we saw in the last couple of years. There was a very fast migration because the prices of smartphone have also come down. So this year has been slow. I think so. It's all inflation, which is really playing on consumers' pocket. Uh, Third, I would say more customer shares of wallet is actually going more towards traveling, which was not seen in the last couple of years, traveling, hospitality, and all. So lately, yes, we have seen some slowdown in the mobile segment. But good part in our case is that we work with multiple customers, and we are relatively slightly doing better than some of the brands in the marketplace. But clearly, the volumes have been slow. But we think that it will bounce back in Q4, and our export should also gradually pick up for one of our anchor customers. And hopefully, we should have a better Q4 as against Q3 in terms of mobile sales.
Let's bring on board Sunil Raina as well, who's President and Business Head at Lava International, to take this discussion forward. Thanks much for taking time out. Now, given the fact that we do and in the country have the benefit of lower tariffs, improved logistics and labor reforms to give a major production push, I just wanted to understand, is there anything else that you think is required that could push India to the top spot?
Yeah, I think the reason why we have had this very good run in terms of the exports from India and the production increase from India is the three key factors. One obviously is the geopolitical scenario where the world is now looking at China plus one strategies, and India becomes a very, very important country in that sense. And second is also because there are rising costs in China because of the economy which has grown to this extent. The labor costs, the infrastructure costs have also gone up. And the third and the most important one, I would say, is the Indian government's intervention in making sure that when the shift takes place, we are in the right place, where we have all the right inputs to the industry so that the shift can happen. For example, PLI scheme has been it's been very effective in terms of raising the exports as well as the production in the country. And second thing is also the duties which have been kind of levied on several components so far. So I think if we continue doing this, it will keep rising. I think one additional point that maybe can be done is to encourage the design-led manufacturing. So right now it's the lower value addition which is happening in the country, and once the design-led manufacturing happens, the value will become even higher. So that's perhaps one additional thing that we need to do to take the Indian production and manufacturing to higher levels from here.
Interesting. But Sunil, tell me the kind of, humongous demand that we've seen. it seemed like almost every Indian household wanted to just purchase a mobile phone, right? Or some of the gadgets this festive season. Where is it that you're actually seeing demand coming from? Is it urban or rural India which is buying more of mobile handsets? And I ask you this because you're in the affordable category.
Yeah. So I think, I would say the adoption could have been better because, we have a very large base of feature phones, right? Still in the country, we have about close to about 25-30% shipments which still are on 2G and on the feature phones. The adoption could have been faster, but it's not as fast as it was expected to be. But yes, the bulk of the growth is coming from the rural areas, from tier 2, tier 3 towns. And also because of the fact that India is one of the youngest countries in the world. Therefore, the technology adoption, the smartphone adoption is definitely better than the countries which are slightly older. So yes, in terms of demographics, it is the younger population which we have, which is leading to this growth in smartphone sales. And also geographically, yes, rural area is where the higher demand is coming from.
Saurabh, wanted to get in your outlook in terms of the demand for 5G mobiles and how you're looking at this from a company-specific standpoint as well. How is it going to benefit Dixon?
Yeah, so it's a big opportunity for India and for us, and we are absolutely ready for it. Our infrastructure is there. We are actually investing a lot in 5G. Our customers are pushing us to invest more in 5G. So I think so it's a big opportunity because it will lead to increased demand for smartphones, and we are absolutely ready for it.
Okay, and I'm going to now go across to Sunil Raina, the President Business Head at Lava International. We were just talking to Dixon, and he's still here with us, and that is, there is a slowdown of sorts when we talk about mobile handset additions. The growth might be muted. What is that going to mean for Lava, and how are folks like you then reorienting? Some of the Chinese handset makers also, let's not forget, have gone off the market.
See, as far as we are concerned, we have seen a better growth as compared to the last year. One of the reasons why you see a slight, slump in the overall demand is, of course, I think the factors have already been spoken about, which is the global inflation, and there are slightly negative economic outlook. Yes, that has played its role. But I think another factor that has happened is because during the shortage of components which happened till last year, there was a lot of I would say over forecasting also done by the brands, by the companies for the future, which doesn't seem to have turned to be in that, it really hasn't materialized in terms of the actual numbers. And that's also led to this whole build-up of inventory across all brands, I would say. And so that's why you see a lot of these initiatives and actions being taken now to really liquidate that inventory. As far as we are concerned, we were sitting on a very low inventory by the fact that we are not among the top brands in the world, and therefore we were last in the queue when it came to getting the supplies. So we've not had that issue per se, and therefore our growth has been much better compared to last year and compared to the industry. In fact, our growth rate is higher than the industry growth rate right now.
Are we one of the highest on the planet? And how is this entire move going towards shifting a lot of the manufacturing from China? And should I add Taiwan also to that now?
Yeah, sorry, you'll have to
That's
come back again. I missed that. Yeah, sorry, you'll have to come back again. I missed that.
I was asking you that how much of the business have we seen actually move from China and maybe Taiwan to India? Has that happened already, what we've seen, and that's it? Or are you expecting more?
No, there's scope for a lot more, actually. I would say we just scratched the surface. There's a lot that is going to happen. In fact, the growth rates in India production and exports from India is now moving very in a significant way. For example, in September alone, we hit about $1 billion exports from India. So it's not going to just about meeting the domestic consumption, because what government of India is incentivizing for is exports from India. So therefore, this production that will happen out of India is not just going to be for consumption within India, but also for rest of the world. And from that standpoint, the growth is going to be humongous in the next 2 to 3 years' time.
And on that bullish note, gentlemen, we'll let you go on that note. Saurabh, Sunil, both of you, thank you so much for speaking today with us on ET Now.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.